100 years ago, the blessing of the foundation stone of what we call the West Wing here at the monastery. You're with Mission Alive. This is Roger from the MSC Mission Office. 100 years ago, Saturday, blessing of a foundation stone. And in the year after, the students moved into that wing. A significant step for the life of the monastery. Monastery was built in 1896 and occupied in 1897. It was here at the service of the missions. Principally to be a place where missionaries could come to stay on their way to and from Europe and to recuperate from various sicknesses and hard work. The monastery also became a house of studies. It was variously a novitiate, a college, a mission college it was called, a scholasticate. It was also, as I said, a procurator for the mission. And many of the missionaries who came down had to have medical treatment. Often they needed new clothes, shoes, etc. And they had to be housed there until they were well enough to move on. And there was also staff, both priests and brothers, to run the place. By 1916, there were 22 people in the house, and it was never built for such numbers. So there was a big strain on the accommodation. There was a big strain on the finances, which was always an extremely difficult job to get finances to run the place, as well as to pay off the original building. And at one stage, then the scholastics, or the students, were moved up to Douglas Park because there was not enough room. And in 1916 and 17, they moved back again and occupied the West Wing. This is all part of how the mission was served, how things developed. I remember me saying at one stage that Father Navarre and his team finally got through to Sydney in about 1882. Then they established a base in New Britain, in the New Guinea Islands, in 1883, and a new island in 1885. They had also taken on here in Sydney. The Cardinal was very supportive, Cardinal Moran, and we have Botany Parish and Randwick Parish. We still have Randwick Parish. Randwick became the base for quite a few years, and a lot of the missionaries used to stay there. Accommodation was very, very tight, and it was creating a great difficulty. Some young men wanted to join us, and Father Trayond, the superior, wanted to start a novitiate and tried to start it there at Randwick. So there was a lot of pressure on everybody for finance, for personnel, for a place to stay. So it was decided to build the monastery. And that's a whole nother complicated story in itself, where to find finance, because the missionaries of the Sacred Heart in Europe were also undergoing great difficulty from all kinds of sides. And then as the monastery got going, as I said, by 1916, there was 22 people, only 20 years later, 22 people in the house. And so it was the need to build the West Wing, which was done. And then it's been occupied pretty well ever since. So these things, recruiting of personnel, training of personnel, formation of personnel, brothers and students to the priesthood, the finances for all of that, the buildings, etc., were a great weight on the leaders at the time. And even after the monastery was built, it was thought at some stage they should sell it. And it was thought that it might become a children's hospital. Anyway, history moves on, and that is all part of the mission. Lastly on that, the bishops from the missions in New Ireland and Rabaul also had a great influence on things, because in effect, before the province was erected, they were the superiors. The whole place was set up here for the missions, and they had a big influence on it, and they tried to make decisions. Now, Father Coupe came here to learn English, and they wanted to hold him here to teach the students, but he eventually became Bishop of Rabaul. Father Zell also was here and was on the staff, and they wanted to hold him on the staff, but he went back to Yule Island, and then he became Bishop of Darwin. So there's many, many side stories that can be told around this. Thank you for being with us. The mission was alive then, the mission is alive today.